Up and over quadrant
Great start for the Cardinals.
Twice. Into the end zone. Caught for the touchdown.
And there's only one way to say this in my mind. The trust factor that Kyler Murray has for Trey McBride.
25, 20, 15, 10. Wilson tackled inside the 10, but what a
the Arizona Cardinals, it's not about where they've been, but about where they're going.
Duane Schuman, the firefighter. He served as a fire captain in the fire service on Engine 86 before being promoted to battalion chief in Vancouver, Washington. 7 years before he retired from the fire service in Washington. The love for the Arizona Cardinals had grown thick, but for this superfan, it wasn't about an escape or wins and losses. It's about family and community. He has an iconic look sporting the number 40 Tillman jersey and wearing his silver firefighter hat with the candy red Cardinals logo on either side, with 2 service ribbons on the back and big red written on the back rim and in front the EE86 leather patch. Join us for the beginning of Season 2 as the Redsea Brothers interview Duane Schuman for a deeper dive into his Arizona Cardinals fandom.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. We've got a very special guest for us today on our another super fan, Arizona Cardinals fan interview. Coming out, he served as a fireman out of Engine 86 from Vancouver, Washington, from Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome in, Duane Schuman.
Hey.
Welcome in, Duane. Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right, no problem. Hey, Duane, so since we're on this and we know that you were on a podcast with Arizona Sports and you were on the news and you had this fame come about you with the helmet. So we wanted to ask you, we just want you to elaborate a little bit more on your fandom. We all know the story, but if there's any more little bit that maybe you haven't told to anyone, or if you have a hidden secret, is there anything that, like, what started everything with the helmet, with everything you have cards? That's what we want to know. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to start, but basically the whole story kind of began, my career in the fire service. The 30 years in Vancouver between there, and it was one of those where it just kind of, when you get done with the fire service, you go through a lot, right? And I've talked about this before with KTAR when I did the interview with them, was that, you develop a brotherhood, sisterhood in the fire service, and you go through a lot together. Some things are great and some things aren't, but at the same time that you become a family, right? So when I retired, which was in 2017, I did 30 years. It kind of needed that family, that brotherhood, sisterhood feeling is something that you kind of miss, right? Mm-hmm. And so my wife, she got us tickets to go to a game back in 2010, I think it was. And I was still working, but we just really had such a great time at the game, and the environment was electric. You go around this, people tailgating, barbecuing. It smelled great. Everybody was excited. It's the great lawn. You have bands going. You go into the game, and the stadium was amazing. The fans that we were interacted with were amazing. And as so we just had such a great time. And so then my birthday came up a year later, and she got us tickets. And this time we were on the 50-yard line, and same environment. It was just, we had such a great time. Mm-hmm. And we felt like at that point that we wanted to become part of we wanted to be season ticket holders. And so we did. We put our names in, and at the time we had to be on a wait list to get in, and it took a couple of years, but we got tickets, and ever since then, the more we go to games, the more people we get to know, the more that, and this kind of ties back into that family feeling, where you get to know people, you become, and it's like family, you look forward to seeing people, and you have a common goal, right? You want to go cheer on your team, and when you're gone, when the season's over, you miss your friends, and you can't wait to get back, and you can't wait to see the people and get that electric energy in the air, and you just miss it. And so that was one of the things that kind of it really filled a void. And my helmet, it was one of those where it was an opportunity I couldn't use it in the fire service anymore. And so I had a guy, I used to have motocross helmet, and the guy up in Portland, Oregon, that Blosian, he did John Dady did the painting for me. And when I took it in to have it painted, I told him I wanted it white because I thought, I want it white like the Cardinals helmets with a cardinal on the side. And basically, like I think any artist, you got to give them some free reign to kind of do their own thing and make it however they work. And so when I went to pick it up, it was all silver, and he had it. He just said the white. He painted it white to start, and and it didn't look right to him, and so he painted it silver, basically like the stadium. And there was a couple things that I really wanted in it, and that was. So I've talked about this a little bit before, but not with you guys, but with other interview. In the fire service, my paramedic for 10 years was Air Force Pararescue. And he was deployed on multiple occasions, different areas in the world. And I would see him go and what his family went through. And not only him, but we had several other pararescue in the Vancouver Fire Department. And I just really wanted to honor and give tribute to our military. And so on the back of the helmet, I had these little little ribbons painted that are military and tribute to the military. And so that was something that I really wanted on there. And kind of like, not like big and bold, but just it's present. And at the same time, so he did that, and he painted it silver. And when I got it, it was like, it just turned out perfect. And it was one of those to where the first time I wore it to a game, I was a little nervous. Like, I don't know what people are going to think, it's fire helmet painted kind of like a Cardinals helmet, but not the same. And over time, it just really created a lot of conversation. We got to know a lot of people. Now, it's one of those, it's kind of become like my signature, to where if I wore a baseball cap with the Cardinals thing, people probably wouldn't even know who I was as I was walking by. Right. Not everybody, you got a lot of friends that clearly would, but it's one of those where we've traveled to a lot of away games. People there have seen us on TV. We get back, and it just opens a lot of doors. And that's kind of the thing now. It's like, if I don't wear it to a game, I feel like I'm like a dog without his collar. You just kind of missing something. So anyway, I don't know if that tells you anything more, or
no, that's
looking for something different. But
no, that's actually great. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're fans of fans. We're not your analysts.
Yeah.
We're not your sports. We're the ones in the stands high-fiving you, drinking the beers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Chris, we had some other questions, Chris?
Yeah. So, as a passionate Cardinals fan, and you're a season ticket holder, with those many games that you've gone to, do you have any stories that you've experienced within your game experience at a Cardinals game?
So, yeah, I do actually. This is one I've told before, but it really was, to me, it was pretty significant event. And, we were in Nashville at a Cardinals game, and it was the season opener in 2020. Yeah, I think 2021, I think. Okay. And I was wearing a helmet. We were walking through the parking lot, and all the Nashville fans were out tailgating, and there was a handful of Cardinals fans, not many, but we were walking by this tailgate, of Nashville fans. And as we were walking by, a lady there says to me, she's sitting in a chair and they're tailgating, cooking, and it smelled great. Says, "Hey, if we win, I get that helmet." And so we kind of started laughing, and I went over and started talking to her, and it was just pretty amazing in that you just don't know who you're going to meet, the stories that they will have, where their backgrounds are. But we got to talking, and her mom was the first. And so when I first got hired in the fire service, there were no ladies, there were no females that were working in the fire service. And so when they did hire them, it had to be such a challenge for the first ones to come through, because it was just basically a male dominated profession. And so you got to have a lot of respect for the ones that come through and they face those challenges. Well, it turns out not only was her mom the first female firefighter in the state of Tennessee, she was the first Black female in the state of Tennessee firefighter, and she said that her mom wouldn't let her have her helmet, but she wanted to get it. But just the history and what she went through, I just had nothing but respect, and it was just such a great connection. And we ended up staying at that barbecue, that tailgate, for the longest time, and it was just a really great experience. Nothing but respect, and it was it just open door, great conversation, a lot of history. Anyway, that was probably one of my favorite interactions in an away game with different fans, and it was all generated just because of the helmet is where it came from. So
that is so great that you can actually connect with other fans, going to a different city, different atmosphere, and then connecting with the rivalry, and then everyone just comes together.
Exactly.
Our mutual friend Robert, we call him, he goes to games and Hurricanes. You'll see him there,
right?
He'll go through everything. So I'm just like, man, I love that.
Let's take a quick break with the Redsea Brothers to view a quick clip of their newest Shooting the Breeze episode that is coming soon.
Hey, welcome in. We are here at the lovely golf course in Prescott Valley called the Quailwood. And guess what? You're going to check out Mike make this awesome chip into the hole. Remember, we're in Prescott Valley at the Quailwood Golf Course. All right, let's go. All right, let's get back into the interview.
Duane, another thing for you. If you were a fan in 2010, you've seen the Cliff Kime era. You know Cliffy was in there, and Steve Kime was running the show. And then we see this dramatic change this last year.
Yeah.
And we want to know your thoughts. You bought season tickets. You've seen all the different player changes. You were there when Fitz was there. It was literally 2 years from us going to the Super Bowl in 2008 to today. So I want to know your thoughts, man. What you think, everything from, we kind of want to hear what your thought is on that.
Yeah. So we were very optimistic, in 2015, I think 16, Bruce Arians was here. We had a really good run there for a short time. You mentioned Larry Fitzgerald. There's nothing like being in the stadium and hearing that chant, Larry, and it was just great, right? It was so much fun, and we were hopeful we would do better. We did good, but we never went to the Super Bowl in the last few years. But I'm very thankful for what we have now. I think that I'm very optimistic with the new coach. I think the play, and I'm sure you guys were there last year. And the thing that I loved about it is that a lot of people wrote us off. A lot of people out there didn't give us the credit that I think that we deserved. But the thing that really stood out to me was the players they never quit. They played hard. Like you could go to the games and you just saw the players were buying in, and that was my take anyway. And I felt like even though people didn't give us much of a chance, the players, it didn't matter to them. They still responded for the Coach Gannon, and I think that the draft went great last year. I think that we did really well, and I'm very optimistic for this year. You know, I don't know if there can ever be a replacement for Larry, but there's always that little feeling that it would be like, I don't know if Marvin Harrison will end up here.
Yeah.
But maybe that could be another, you hear that chant, you get a player that just gets the crowd going. And I know some of the coaches in the past have, if the crowd kind of gets flat, well, what they do, they throw the ball to Larry and they make a play, and the crowd would become alive again. And so it would be something to see something like that again. And I think we're getting there. Is not to talk bad about the previous, but I'm very optimistic about where we're going. And I think that there's a plan, and it looks like there's a plan in place, which is good. And so, yeah, I'm very optimistic about where we're going and where we are today. Do I think this year is going to be a Super Bowl run? Kind of doubt it, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
That's great. That's great. So I got another one for you. Fairly simple one, but we're kind of wondering who's your favorite all-time Cardinal, and then also who's your current favorite player on the roster right now?
So that one is kind of that my favorite all-time player. It's hard to pick a favorite all-time player. I mean, Larry instantly comes to mind, Larry Fitzgerald. But my favorite player, and I think right now is James Conner. And the reason for that, and there's so many good ones. I mean, I love Buda Baker. He's from the state of Washington, same place I'm from up there. But we had our son was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma 6 years ago now, and 5.5 years ago. And this is right after James Conner was just starting to come back to football after having the same diagnosis. And so I used James. Jake and I would talk quite a bit about, James and what he went through in his recovery, and you'd see him on TV and he's making a good comeback. And so when your kid is going through that, you want to do anything you can to give them hope. And that's where, that's what James did, right?
Right.
Not knowing it. And he didn't do it for us, but people watch, right? People see what the players do. And I felt like that was the same thing, that in the fire service, people are watching you as well. And you got to basically, you got to do good. And so after seeing what Jake went through, he was so sick, and it's so hard on a parent. And so I have nothing but respect for James being able to make that recovery, knowing what he had to go through. I don't know what he had to go through because I wasn't in his shoes, but I can only imagine what he was going through, as well as his family, right? I mean, everybody is just, you want to, and so I have nothing but respect for what he went through, making that recovery, and then watching him play today. So that kind of gives you a little background in a roundabout way, but that's probably, I would say that's the reason why James is right now, he's my favorite player out there. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, JC is definitely the heart and soul of our team last year and the year before that too. I mean, he plays his heart out every time he touches that field, and he's such a great professional. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He runs hard. He plays hard. And that's just nothing but respect. And so
I love
that's
when he was
kind of where I'm
mentioned.
at. So
Yeah, I loved it when he was mentioned at the honorable mentions and everything. They brought him up. He's like the only Cardinal there, and I was like, yeah, woohoo, we're noticed.
yeah.
So
And he got the angry runs, and
I love that, man. He deserves the angry runs, and he's going to get a lot more this year, I believe.
I hope so.
We just with DJ, I believe we're going to pick up a nice running back in the draft. A young guy, young, tall, fast guy to kind of break it up between, Connor. We got Carter still kind of hanging there too. So we got a lot of weapons for Kyler, and I believe Monty and everybody else is doing that. But another question for you, Duane: do you have any charities that you work with, or even in Vancouver? Do you have anything that you want to kind of tell anybody out there? And what we'll do is we'll post a link down in our bio so they can click and they can donate to the charities through here. So is there anything you would like to tell the fans out there?
You know what? There is actually. We became friends this year, just kind of random. But I'd like to mention, and so the reason why I feel like it's important is, and I'm glad that you actually brought it up, because that's one of the reasons that I love the Cardinals, is that they do a lot of work in the community, and they really help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. When I was in the fire service, me and a couple other guys started a Firefighters for Children. And what we would do is we would collect toys, take them at Christmas time. We would take them in the fire engine and deliver them to needy kids. Well, then one of the things up there, it's cold. It gets really cold in the winter. And I worked in a firehouse, Engine 86. Mm-hmm. That was one of the schools had, it was a large percentage of the kids were they needed help, and they needed, they were subsidized. Well, we started at Engine 86, the crew there, myself actually, started the annual coat drive. In the first year, we got, I don't know, it was about, 20, 30 coats, not very many. And then the next year it ballooned up a couple hundred, and then it got to be, and it's actually even after I left now, which was one of my concerns when I retired, was like, I hope it doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. But I was captain there at that firehouse for 15 years, and we collected a lot of coats. It's been thousands, and so they still collect coats there. But I don't tell you that so that people can donate there. Mm-hmm. It's still going on, but that's always been near and dear to my heart, is that when you're in a position, firefighter, police officer, professional athlete, people watch, and you can make a difference in people's lives without really knowing it. And that was one of the things that this year, during the draft, when you saw Paris Johnson get drafted, one of his big things is he does a lot of charity work. And so if I could highlight anything, it would be the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation. And he helps basically disabled veterans, disadvantaged students that are athletes. And anyway, that's one that I would like highlight if people, and the link is the Paris Johnson, I'd have to look it up, but it's Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation or something. And I could find it and I could send it to you. I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but helping veterans and students, that's exactly what we were talking about. My love for the military, the people who serve, and helping kids. I mean, it really is, I think that if you can do that, the more power to you. And that's what he does. And so anyway, that would be the one that I would definitely, if you can put a link or say something about that. But, I don't have I could look it up, but I'll send it to you, or you can get it. So anyway, but
All right, Duane. Well, just wanted to, on behalf of the Redsea Brothers, and just wanted to say to all our Redsea fans, from the man himself, we call you the firefighter, Duane Schuman. We just wanted to thank you. And also, we wanted to thank you for your service. For every first responder that's out there, we know how hard it is. We know exactly in these trying times of today, it's even harder. So our hearts are out to you. If you can go ahead, please like and subscribe this channel. Not only that is, go ahead and check the link in the bio, and that's going to go ahead, the Paris Jr. Foundation, and go ahead and go ahead contribute to it and show Paris Jr. and all the fans out there everything. But thanks again, Duane, and go rise up Redsea and go Cards.
Go Cardinals.
Go Cards. Thank you, fellas.
The Redsea Brothers would like to say thank you to all our first responders and military. Thank you for serving and keeping us all safe.